Well, hey there, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the old Holub Project here. As you can see behind me, we got the caddy back in the air. And that's because, if you didn't catch the last episode, we've got a giant transmission leak. Got seals here. Hopefully they are the correct ones. And we're going to pop this thing out quick and replace the seals. You guys have already seen me pull this thing, probably put it in, you know, all the things, but let's just do her again. I'll probably just set you guys up. You can watch the fast forward montage with some easy listening. I don't know what we'll go with this time. Something that doesn't blow your eardrums out, at least. And we'll get ripping. I'm gonna throw on a little White Snake radio and get to ripping and or tearing, and you guys can listen to whatever trips my trigger when I edit this video. Turn the radio down here. I think I may have screwed up, which I had the video in time lapse, so I won't be able to tell. But I think this got caught coming out, and I think it bent, which is going to make it a enormous pain in the ass. But nonetheless, it's out. We're going to take the torque converter off the front and then see what our seal looks like. There's a little bit of metal shavings and stuff inside here. I don't know if maybe our starter wasn't super happy on the front of the ring gear here. It kind of looks like that. So I don't know. The teeth on the starter don't look too bad. Don't yell at me for hanging it by the wires, but that's what I did. So let's try to get this thing off. I'm going to roll this transmission over to a different spot of the shop here so I can make that same mess somewhere else that has better lighting. Okay. Now, let's try to get this torque converter pulled out of here. I'm assuming they just come out like any other one would. But you guys know what assuming does. Well, okay, well, I had to take a quick second there. Professor Matt calls me around this time every day. So now we'll come back to this. I'm not exactly sure why this dang torque converter is being such a pain to get out of here. Should just slip right out. In a perfect world, I guess. I also don't want to drop it or the transmission on the floor. I guess I'm just figuring it's just like any other transmission. However, I've been wrong before. I might have to bust out the manual and see if there's a special instruction. Okay, well, there is more to this than what I thought. I'm gonna take all these off, remove the flywheel, and then there's a snap ring in there that you gotta remove. Sorry, another phone call. All right, so here's the deal. You gotta pull these guys all off so that you can take the front of this off and get to a snap ring on the input shaft, I believe is what that's called, because the output shaft would be on the back. And then you can pull this off. It's not called a torque converter, it's called something else goofy. Let me see if I can read it to you. I'm not very good at reading though, so, you know. That is the Torus check valve. And then there's a driving Torus assembly. This, apparently you can take the whole thing apart. But anyway, you gotta take the flywheel off and then take this ring seal out and then take the main shaft outer snap ring off, and then that comes off, and then hopefully you can slide the whole thing off, because if I gotta take this whole thing apart, yeah, I might wait for my brother to do that. So let me get out the paint marker here and what I'm gonna do so I don't screw this up is I'm gonna mark each one of these with a white dot that I pull the nuts off of, because I don't want to, you know, screw the order up or something. Just good practice. The more you can do to prevent errors, the better off a guy is, in my opinion. We're gonna make a giant mess. Looks like it's got locating pins on it, so that's gonna make it more enjoyable. Oh yeah. Awesome. Oh boy. We're just really making a mess tonight. Really making a mess. I don't have that O-ring to put back on this either, so that's special. Okay, so that is basically the inside of a torque converter. Maybe, probably not, but I see what I need to take apart to get it off. So here's the snap ring. I gotta take that off, and then it'll come off of there, I suppose. Okay, let's take this snap ring out of here. Four and a half hours later. Oh, don't tell me. Apparently you got to take all the layers apart. So I'm guessing this, I don't know, the small one maybe? Anybody ever seen the inside of a torque converter? There you go. I don't know which one to go next. Probably have to take this one and then the big one. Let me fight with this one for the next 4 hours. Oh, for crying out loud. Alright, I changed out the tips. That works a lot better. And those two snap rings are exactly the same. This is one thing I've never been very good at. I normally just try to work them around. Have decent results with that. Oh, come on. What else you gotta take apart? Ouch. Holy cow. This thing's got... What in the world? This is pretty neat. So... I don't know what else has to come off for that to come out of there. Yeah, hammer down, diesel truck. So cool. Washer. Gear. I am not a fan of this at all. I don't see anything else in here. Oh, right there. Another C-clip, or another clip right here. Boy, what a terrible idea this was. You guys know what the best part of recording is, though? You can watch the video back. Powering back on. Here we are, we're back. We gotta get this clip out of here still. And then I would stick you guys closer, but transmission's not metal. What was I doing? Alright, well, I fought with that for long enough. And we got her. So let's finally get to the damn seal. Holy cow! And you can clearly see, I'll bring you in. you can see the fluid right there is running out of the seal. So I'm gonna try to figure out something to do with this and then make the dog quit barking. Okay, well, we've made it down to our oil seal here, and as you can see, there's some damage to the flywheel case, and as you can also see, there's witness marks that this has been removed, and as you can also see, it has been broken and repaired. So I guess the question now, so this spins and doesn't sound great. So yeah, we need to figure out something with this situation. So anyway, that's where we've made it this evening. I need to investigate what's going on here. I may need to get online and see if I can find a, well, it's a bell housing, but they call it a flywheel housing in the manual, and there's supposed to be an O-ring between the body and the bell housing. Clearly you can see that somebody just used schmooze. You know, just another another hurdle in the Lil Debby situation. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll probably see you tomorrow night. Okay, well, we're back. We had a couple week delay there. Had to order some parts. Let me show you what's going on here. So where we left off, you can clearly see that the bell housing was getting rubbed, and this spins. Tis not supposed to do that. And yeah, unfortunately the bell housing is smoked. Luckily, we found one on eBay. There was one, and the price was fair, which, how do you put a price tag on, you know, something like this, a Jetaway transmission bell housing? Well, you really don't. So we picked her up. I'm gonna get it cleaned up. It still has some of the blue paint on it, and degrease it, hose it down, clean it up, and then we'll throw our new seal in that, and then we'll get them swapped out, and hopefully we'll be cooking with a little bit of, you know, vegetable oil or something, maybe extra virgin, whatever, I don't know. So let me get this cleaned up and we'll get to it. Okay, that's cleaned up. Next step, we need to make sure that nothing happened to our thrust washer in our engine. So we're gonna set up a dial indicator and take some measurements, make sure that we're still good, that we're still in spec. So let me get set up with the dial indicator and we'll take some measurements off of that. All right, we're set up. Pardon me. Got our dial indicator on the back of the crank here, and we're gonna slide the pry bar up here and use the back of the crankshaft here and see what we get. I don't see any movement in that. So let's dig through the manual here and see what we have for a spec on it. All right, just to double check, I did reset my dial indicator up here just to make sure that I had it set nice. And I'm not getting any movement out of that. And it's set right on the end of that crank. So our spec end play and crankshaft 1,000 to 7,000ths worn limits. So I mean, I'm gonna say we're okay. A-okay. So next step, let's get this bell housing off this transmission here. Sure, we're gonna have to smack that off of there. Yikes. Well, there's the centerpiece there. Broke completely out. And I'm really hoping that our pump is okay. It's got some heat marks in it. I'm trying to see if there's wear on the shaft here. Because that would be a bad day. Well, it doesn't look too bad. Better take a video and send it to the transmission professor. This transmission looks really nice inside. It looks new. Nothing looks broke. There's a bushing back here on the back side. And I don't feel any play in it. We might be okay. There's another bushing up here in the front. You guys probably can't see it very well, but there's a bushing right inside there that looks like it's not too bad. I don't see a bunch of excessive wear on it or anything. So that's good. We might be all right. Let me take some videos, send them to the professor, make sure that we're good to put this back together. And we'll be back here in a smidgen. All right, let's see if we can get this old gasket popped out of here. Okay. Popped her out, we'll flip her over. It might have been in okay shape, but we've got a new one, so why not use it? You know what I mean? Clean this up nice in here and get this set in here as even as we can. I'm gonna have to do this a little bit ghetto, but you know, that's because I don't have a seal driver kit down here. But I think we can come up with something. If I've got a block of wood down here, that might do the trick. Looks pretty good. I think I like that. Sitting flush. Yeah. There we go. We got our new seal in there. Make sure it's flush on the other side. Should be pretty good. Brand new. So, since we have no cell phone service because Verizon's got a tower down, I'm sure this hasn't sent yet. Nope. So before we go ahead and slap this all back together, we're gonna give it just a minute here and because I'd hate to get it together and find out that we've got something going on here that's not right. So, back in a minute. Just a quick note for any of you fellers that will probably never ever dig into one of these Jetaway transmissions. I just wanted to make a note of this. So obviously we can spin this way. We can't go in reverse because it's not in reverse. But if you pull this off, like I did, make sure that when you put this back in, it hits 3 detents. You'll have to spin it and twist it and turn it, and it'll click back just like a torque converter would. But I was mocking up the bell housing and it wouldn't fit over this pump or whatever. And so I started messing with it and it started clicking back in. So just so you know. All right, well, we got the thumbs up from the professor. So let's go ahead and start reassembly. And I think what we're gonna do, because I don't know if this O-ring's really worth any hoots at all. We're gonna just run a real thin bead of this around here. It already had it on there. I'm wondering if this transmission's been rebuilt once upon a time, because the inside of it looks, well, from what I can see, looks pretty good. And the old bell housing was cracked already and fixed. Who knows when that was, but perhaps they rebuilt this thing when they repaired the bell housing. So we're just gonna put a thin layer of that because I don't have an O-ring for the bell housing. And we'll go ahead and get this set up here. And like I said, make sure your stuff is all the way seated, your pump. And you'll know because this won't fit. Okay, make sure everything still spins, nothing's bound up. That's all good. Beautiful. Go ahead and come over this way. And what we're gonna do now is flip this over and make sure that all this is cleaned up. There's some aluminum on here, and we don't want any of that. So we're just gonna run this around it a little bit here. Oh, that battery. A lot of aluminum left on here from when it tried welding itself, so we got to try to get that cleaned up. Let me change out the end on the grinder here. We'll go with this and see if maybe it's enough to take that off. Great big chunk right here we got to get off. I got to figure out, maybe I can get it moving with a flathead. Got a big chunk of it there. Big old chunks of aluminum. Aluminium. Give her the old Super Scraper Ultimate test. It's coming, little by little, chipping away. Clean up aisle 5. A lot easier to see it when you've got it buffed out, if you will. Layer by layer. You know, the thing that intrigues me is being that this bell housing had been cracked and repaired. If perhaps it did get rebuilt during that time, what if the repair on the bell housing didn't work? And now we're dealing with it. Maybe it never even got driven after it got built. I would say we got it all. She cleaned up good. I don't see any damage. All right. Got it all off of the front of that. Nice and smooth. That should work. I'll grab a rag here and wipe this all out, make sure it's real good and clean. All right, well, this is easier to put in with this already splined in it, and you put it in as a unit. Be careful with your needle bearing setup in there. Get your clip back on here. Fight with this for an hour. Patience is a requirement with this. I'm not very good with patience, so, you know. There we go. Slide that back there into position. And then you've got your gear. And then your thrust washer. And then another snap ring. I'm actually not sure if this was put together correctly in the first place, because according to the manual, there's not another snap ring that goes here. It's telling me that this goes on first. So let's put this on and see what kind of fitment we get with it. There she goes. And then there's a snap ring there. Okay, and that says intermediate shaft snap ring. So that would be here. All right, there's that. And then we've got the main shaft inner snap ring. Okay, that's together. Now, let's go over here and get out our new O-ring. That's gonna go around the outside of this thing. That one there's in pretty bad shape. All right, here's our new one. Clean this up. Careful not to roll it, because it's like a rectangle shape. So you'll want to make sure that when you get it on here, the orientation of it is correct all the way around. That looks pretty good. So we're going to go with that. Clean the inside of this out. And when we get this all together, we are going to see if things still rub. And I'm really hoping they don't, because if they do, we're not in good shape. And we want to be in great shape when we're done with this. So let's see, the dowel will go right there. That should go there. Something like that, I reckon. And looks like most of our white paint has left the building. There's still a few that have it though. We can figure it out. Looks like this one and this guy here and this guy. This guy, 2, 4, 6. I'm missing one. There it is. I dropped it and didn't even know it. All right, let me find a torque spec. All right, 15 to 20 foot-pounds is the torque spec. We're gonna go with 18. We'll just go right in the middle. How's that sound? All right, that's done. Now, I don't hear anything rubbing in there. And that's a good thing. And like I said, this one here was already broke. It was broke up here and welded. You can see the crack here. I don't know if that's the difference, why this would do what it did, but we won't know for sure anything until we get that up there bolted to the back of the engine, because of that spacer that's in there. You know, that spacer is going to push on that Torus. So, you know, that could be what's pushing it back in there. That spacer may have gotten a little cockeyed too when I put it in the last time. So I don't know. But, you know, there it is, it's all back together. Spins freely. And, you know, that's all a guy can hope for right now. So I suppose it's time to clean up for the night and get back down here right after work tomorrow and try to get this thing jammed back in. I lied. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stabbed, and then I'm gonna go home for a night. For the night. For a night or the night? The night. Let's go with that. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put some tunes on. We'll be back down tomorrow. Okay, folks. Well, it's the next day. We got her jammed in here last night. It's got 4 bolts in it. All the torque converter and or Torus bolts are in. And I put the ratchet on the crank, spun over nice, no noises from this general area in here, or this area. I think we are all set to go. I can only make the assumption that everything's okay. The last time it was audible, you could hear it. You could hear something grinding, you could hear a chirp, you know, the things. So it's quiet now. I believe everything's gonna be good to go, and we're gonna button this up. So I'm gonna crank the tunes, get to work, finish this all up, and you know, maybe we'll have a result this evening. That'd be pretty cool. Here we go. All right, well, we're all done. Tranny's back in, everything's hooked up. Had to have buddy Rich Galen come down and help me get that TV rod bent, reshaped, adjusted 1,000 times before we got it somewhat close. Started filling her up with tranny fluid and started it up, and I think we're out of fuel. Son of a gun. And of course I started filling it and came out the vent tube. So we need to get it cranked over so I can get tranny fluid flowing through the tranny. And she's out of gas, won't stay running. So I was trying to bottle feed it, just enough to get it, you know, get some run time on it. But you know, we all know how that goes sometimes. So as of right now, everything looks pretty good. Time is it? You know, it's deceiving because it looks beautiful outside, and it is, but it's also way later than what you would think it would be because the sun's still shining, which ultimately makes me work a lot later than I want to, because when you get up at 5 to go to work, the mornings come real early and you're like, son of a gun. So I might give this another couple shots. Our battery started dying on us, so I had to hook it up. Give her another couple shots to get it, get some run time on it here quick, and then we'll probably call it for the night. I gotta keep filling the bowls for whatever reason, namely probably out of fuel. It's not pulling any from the tank. So we'll set you guys over here and I'll hop in it and give it a crank. Let freedom ring! Did you guys know that you have to have the battery hooked up? Come on, reset. Any day, there we go. Okay. Let's try her again, eh? Canadians, eh? It's the next day, and we've got her figured out here. Fuel issue. Wasn't getting any fuel. Adjust our TV rod still, apparently. So we're gonna have to do that, but first and foremost, let's get this transmission, get some fluid in it. do that until we get it idled down. But it's definitely quieter. There's no rubbing going on. Sounds much better. So let me shut her down, and we're gonna have to figure out our adjustment here, and I'm probably gonna just do that right up here on the deal up here before she gets too hot. Because nobody likes working on something that's scalding hot. Take our cotter pin out. So we're gonna have to do a little tweaking, a little twiking. And I think in order to do that, we're probably going to, I don't want to use a ton of the adjustment up here, so we're probably just going to disconnect it down there and tweak on the rod a little bit, because that's got to be back there like so. Yeah, we'd be almost out of adjustment on the rod, so I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and raise her up in the air. Uh-oh. We got a little trim piece coming off here. Gonna have to get a new little clip for that. Throw her up in the air and we'll disconnect from the TV rod on the bottom side. And I think if we put a little bit more of a bend in that, we can take some of the length out of that rod. Well, we're leaking again. All new seals, and we're leaking again. Great. What in the world? All right, well, you guys know the pain that I'm going through right now. So, all that for nothing? Yeah, it's about right. Okay, well, I guess I'm not sure where to go now from here. I'll keep taking it up. Nothing from the tail shaft. I don't understand. Help me. understand. Alright, well, it's leaking from the same place. Once again. I don't understand that at all. So I guess the conclusion of this video is going to be, well, there's not going to be one. Because I don't have time to pull this Tranny back out tonight and put it back in. Boy, that's irritating. So, I don't know. Maybe Professor Matt's coming up this weekend and we'll pop it back out. Not gonna have another seal though. Just don't understand. So anyway, like always, tired of giving you guys videos that have no ending on them. Why is the camera so dark? There we go. Holy smokes. Can't see nothing. But, damn it. Anyway, appreciate everybody watching. Like, share, subscribe. If you want to do things 8 times like the Holub Project, you're at the right place. Oh, and don't forget, your most valuable asset is time. That's why we're here, to try to save you the time from doing crap like this. See you in the next one.